Eight Agni Purana preliminaries in the forest that is known as Namishranya, Shaunka and the other rishis, sages, were performing a yajna, sacrifice, dedicated to the Lord Vishnu. Sutha had also come there, on his way to a pilgrimage. The sages told Sutha, "We have welcomed you. Now describe to us that which makes men all-knowing. Describe to us that which is the most sacred in the whole world." Sutha replied, "Vishnu is the essence of everything. I went to a hermitage named Badrika with Shuka, Pela and other sages and met Vyadev there. Vyasadev described to me that which he had learned from the great sage Vasishtha, Vasishtha having learned it from the god Agni himself. The Agni Purana is sacred because it tells us about the essence of the Brahman, the divine essence. I learned all this from Vyasadev and I will now tell you all that I have learned." Avatras. Do you know what an avatra is? An avatra is an incarnation and means that a god adopts a human form to be born on earth. Why do gods do this? The purpose is to destroy evil on earth and establish righteousness. Vishnu is regarded as the preserver of the universe and it is therefore Vishnu's incarnations that one encounters most often. Vishnu has already had 9 such incarnations and the 10th and final incarnation is due in the future. These 10 incarnations of Vishnu are as follows. 1. Matsya Avatra fish incarnation. 2. Kurma Avatra turtle incarnation. 3. Varah Avatra boar incarnation. 4. Narsimha Avatra Huffman lion incarnation. 5. Vaman Avatra dwarf incarnation. 6. Parshuram. 7. Rama. 8. Krishna. 9. Buddha. 10. Kalki. This is the incarnation that is yet to come. The Agni Purana now describes these 10 incarnations. The fish. Agni told Vasishtha the story of the fish incarnation. Many years ago, the whole world was destroyed. The destruction in fact extended to all the 3 lokas, worlds, of Bhuloka, Bhuvaloka and Swaloka. Bhuloka is the earth, Swaloka or Swarga is heaven and Bhuvaloka is a region between the earth and heaven. All their worlds were flooded with water. Vavaswata Manu was the son of the sun god. He had spent 10,000 years in prayers and tapasya, meditation, in the hermitage Badrika. This hermitage was on the banks of the river Kritamala. Once Manu came to the river to perform his ablutions. He immersed his hands in the water to get some water for his ablutions. When he raised them, he found that there was a small fish swimming in the water in the cup of his hands. Manu was about to throw the fish back into the water when the fish said, "Don't throw me back. I am scared of alligators and crocodiles and big fishes. Save me." Manu found an earthen pot in which he could keep the fish. But soon the fish became too big for the pot and Manu had to find a larger vessel in which the fish might be kept. But the fish became too big for this vessel as well and Manu had to transfer the fish to a lake. But the fish grew and became too large for the lake. So Manu transferred the fish to the ocean. In the ocean, the fish grew until it became gigantic. By now, Manu's wonder knew no bounds. He said, "Who are you? You must be the Lord Vishnu. I bow down before you. Tell me, why are you tantalizing me in the form of a fish?" The fish replied, "I have to punish the evil and protect the good. 7 days from now, the ocean will flood the entire world and all beings will be destroyed. But since you have saved me, I will save you. When the world is flooded, a boat will arrive here. Take the Saptarshis, 7 sages, with that boat. Don't forget to take the seeds of food grains with you. I will arrive and you will then fasten the boat to my horn with a huge snake." Saying this, the fish disappeared. Everything happened as the fish had promised it would. The ocean became turbulent and Manu climbed into the boat. He tied the boat to the huge horn that the fish had. He prayed to the fish and the fish related the Matsya Purana to him. Eventually, when the water receded, the boat was anchored to the topmost peak of the Himalayas. And living beings were created once again. A Danva, demon, named Hayagriva had stolen the sacred texts of the Vedas and the knowledge of the Brahman. In his form of a fish, Vishnu also killed Hayagriva and recovered the Vedas. The turtle. Many years ago there was a war between the Devas, gods, and the Daityas, demons, and the gods lost this war. They prayed to Vishnu to rescue them from the oppression of the demons. Vishnu told Brahma and the other gods that they should have a temporary truce with the demons. The two sides should get together to churn the ocean. Vishnu would ensure that the Devas benefited more from this churning of the ocean than the Daityas did. The truce was agreed upon and the two sides got ready to churn the ocean. The mountain Mandara was used as a churning rod and great sake Vasuki as the rope for churning. The Devas grasped Vasuki's tail and the Daityas grasped Vasuki's head. But as the churning began, the mountain Mandara, which had no base, started to get immersed in the ocean. What was to be done? Lord Vishnu came to the rescue. He adopted the form of a turtle and the peak was balanced on the turtle's back. As the churning continued, terrible poison named Calcutta emerged from the depths of the ocean and was swallowed by Shiva. Shiva's throat became blue from this poison and he is therefore known as Nilkantha, blue of throat. The goddess Varuna, the goddess of wine, Sura, came out next. The gods readily accepted her and thus they came to be known as Suras. But the demons rejected Varuna and were therefore known as Asuras. She was followed by the Parijata tree, a beautiful tree that came to occupy the pride of place in Indra's garden. A jewel named Kaustubha emerged and was accepted by Vishnu as his adornment. Three wonderful animals came out next, the cow Kapila, the horse Uchchashrava and the elephant Airavata. They were followed by the Apsaras, beautiful women who became the dancers of heaven. They were known as Apsaras because they emerged from AP, water. The goddess Lakshmi or Shri came out next and was united with Vishnu. Finally, Dhanvantari emerged with a pot of Amrita, the life-giving drink, in his hands. Dhanvantari was the originator of medicine, Ayurveda. The Daityas led by Jamba gave half of the Amrita to the Devas and departed with the remaining half. But Vishnu quickly adopted the form of a beautiful woman. So beautiful was the woman that the demons were charmed. "Pretty lady," they said. "Take the Amrita and serve it to us. Marry us." Vishnu accepted the Amrita, but he had no intention of giving it to the demons. He served it to the gods instead. There was only one demon who was somewhat clever. His name was Rahu. He adopted the form of Chandra, the moon god, and succeeded in drinking some of the Amrita. The sun god and the moon god noticed what was happening and reported it to Vishnu. Vishnu thereupon cut off Rahu's head with a sword. But Rahu had drunk the Amrita, so he could not die. He prayed to Vishnu and Vishnu granted him a boon. The boon was that occasionally Rahu would be permitted to swallow up the sun and the complained about him. You can see this happening at the time of the solar and the lunar eclipses. People who give alms during such eclipses are blessed. The gods obtained the Amrita and the demons did not. Thus, the gods became more powerful than the demons. They defeated the demons and regained heaven. The boar Vishnu's next incarnation was in the form of a boar. The sage Kashyapa and his wife Diti had a son named Hiranyaksha. He became the king of the Asuras. Hiranyaksha's meditation pleased Brahma, and Brahma granted him the boon that he would be invincible in battle. Thus armed, Hiranyaksha went out to fight with the Devas. He comprehensively defeated the gods and conquered heaven. He also defeated Varuna, the god of the ocean. Thus, Hiranyaksha became the king of the heaven, the earth and the underworld. But the Asura was not particularly fond of the earth. He himself had begun to live in Varuna's palace under the ocean. So he hurled the earth into the depths of the ocean. The gods went to Vishnu and prayed that something might be done about Hiranyaksha. They wished to be restored to heaven, and they wished that the earth might be brought back from the depths of the ocean. In response to these prayers, Vishnu adopted the form of a boar and entered the ocean. Who should he meet there but Hiranyaksha himself? Hiranyaksha of course did not know that this boar was none other than Vishnu. He thought that it was an ordinary boar and attacked it. The two fought for many years. But finally, Hiranyaksha was gored to death by the boar's tusks. The boar raised the earth up once again with its tusks. Vishnu thus saved the gods and the principles of righteousness or dharma. Man-lion Hiranyaksha had a brother named Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was furious to learn that his brother had been killed and resolved to kill Vishnu. But this could not be done unless he himself became powerful and invincible. Hiranyakashipu, therefore, began to pray to Brahma through difficult meditation. Brahma was pleased at these prayers and offered to grant a boon. "I want to be invincible," said Hiranyakashipu. "Please grant me the boon that I may not be killed by night or day, that I may not be killed by man or beast, and that I may not be killed in the sky, the water or the earth." Brahma granted the desired boon, and Hiranyakashipu was happy. He thought that he had taken care of all possible eventualities. And since he had become so powerful, he conquered all the three worlds and kicked the gods out to heaven. Hiranyakashipu had a son named Prahlad. You no doubt remember that Hiranyakashipu had resolved to kill Vishnu. But strangely enough, Prahlad became devoted to Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu tried to persuade his son. That did not work. He tried to kill his son. That too did not work, since each time, Vishnu intervened to save Prahlad. Meanwhile, the gods had been driven off from heaven. They had also been deprived of their shares in yajanas by Hiranyakashipu. These shares now went only to the Asura king. In desperation, they went and prayed to Vishnu, and Vishnu promised them that he would find a solution. One day, Hiranyakashipu called Prahlad to him. "How is it that you escaped each time I tried to kill you?" he asked. "Because Vishnu saved me," replied Prahlad. "Vishnu is everywhere." "What do you mean everywhere?" retorted Hiranyakashipu. He pointed to a crystal pillar inside the palace and asked, "Is Vishnu inside this pillar as well?" "Yes," replied Prahlad. "Very well then. I am going to kick the pillar," said Hiranyakashipu. When Hiranyakashipu kicked the pillar, it broke into two. And from inside the pillar, Vishnu emerged in his form of half-man and half-lion. He caught hold of Hiranyakashipu and placed the demon across his thighs. And with his claws, he tore apart the demon's chest and so killed him. Brahma's boon had been that Hiranyakashipu would not be killed by man or beast. But then Narsimha was neither man nor beast, it was half man and half beast. The boon had said that the Asura would not be killed in the sky, the water or the earth. But Hiranyakashipu was killed on Vishnu's thighs, which were not the sky, the water or the earth. And finally, the Noon had promised that Hiranyakashipu would not be killed by night or day. Since the incident took place in the evening, it was not night or day. After Hiranyakashipu died, the gods were restored to their rightful places. Vishnu's made Prahlad the king of the Asuras. The dwarf Prahlad's grandson was Bali, and Bali became very powerful. When he was the king of the Asuras, there was a war between the Devas and the Asuras. The gods were defeated and were driven off from Swarga. As always, the gods fled to Vishnu and began to pray to him to save them. Vishnu assured the gods that he would do something about Bali. Accordingly, Vishnu was born as the son of Aditi and Kashyapa. The son was a dwarf. King Bali had arranged for a huge sacrifice and had announced that, on the occasion of the sacrifice, he would not refuse anyone a boon. The dwarf arrived at this sacrifice and began to recite the Vedas. Bali was so pleased at this that he offered the dwarf a boon. Bali's guru, teacher, was Shukracharya, and Shukracharya thought that there was something fishy about the way the dwarf had arrived. So he tried to restrain Bali. "No," said Bali. "I have offered a boon and I shall stick to my word. What boon do you desire? I will give whatever you want." Before a boon was actually granted, a small rite had to be performed with holy water. Shukracharya was still trying to do his best to prevent the boon from being given. So he entered the vessel in which the holy water was kept to seal the mouth of the vessel and prevent the water from being taken out. To get at the holy water, the vessel was pierced with a straw. This straw also pierced one of Shukracharya's eyes. Ever since that day, the preceptor of the demons has been one-eyed. "Give me as much of land as may be covered in 3 of my steps," said the dwarf. "I need this as the China fee for my guru." Bali agreed. But the dwarf adopted a gigantic form. With one step he covered Goloka. With another step he covered Bhuvaloka. And with the last step he covered Swaloka. The 3 worlds were thus lost to Bali, and Vishnu returned them to Indra. Bali had no option but to go down to the underworld, Patala. But so pleased was Vishnu at Bali's generosity that he granted the Asura the boon that he would bear the title of Indra in the future. Parshuram the Kshatriyas were the second of the 4 classes. It was their job to wear arms and protect the world and rule. The Brahmanas were the first of the 4 classes. It was their job to pray, study the sacred texts and perform religious rites. But the Kshatriyas became very insolent and began to oppress the world and the Brahmanas. Vishnu was then born as the son of the sage Jamdagni and his wife Renuka. Since this was the line of the sage Bhrigu, Parshuram was also called Bhargava. Parshuram's mission was to protect the Brahmanas and teach a lesson to the Kshatriyas. There was a king named Kartavirya who had received all sorts of boons from the sage Dattatreya. Thanks to these boons, Kartavirya had 1,000 arms and conquered and ruled over the entire world. One day, Kartavirya went on a hunt to the forest. He was very tired after the hunt and was invited by the sage Jamdagni had a Kamdenu cow. This meant that the cow produced whatever its owner desired. Jamdagni used the Kamdenu to treat Kartavirya and all his soldiers to a sumptuous feast. Kartavirya was so enamored of the Kamdenu that he asked the sage to give it to him. But Jamdagni refused. Kartavirya then abducted the cow by force and a war started between Kartavirya and Parshuram. In this war, Parshuram cut off Kartavirya's head with his axe, Parshu, and brought the Kamdenu back to the hermitage. After some time, Parshuram was away when Kartavirya's sons arrived at the ashrama and killed Jamdagni. On the death of his father, Parshuram's anger was aroused. He killed all the Kshatriyas in the world 21 times. On the plains of Kurukshetra, he built 5 wells which were filled with the blood of Kshatriyas. Eventually, Parshuram handed over the world to Kashyapa and went and lived on Mount Mahendra. Rama Brahma came out of Vishnu's navel. Brahma's son was Marichi's son Kashyapa, Kashyapa's son Surya, Surya's son Vavaswata Manu, Manu's son Ikshvaku, Ikshvaku's son Kakutstha, Kakutstha's son Raghu, Raghu's son Aja, Aja's son Dashratha, Dashratha's sons were Rama, Bharata, Lakshmana and Shatrugna. Since Rama was descended from Kakutstha and Raghu, he was also called Kakutstha and Raghava. Since his father's name was Dashratha, he was also called Dashrathi. Rama's story belongs to the solar line, Surya Vansha, since one of his ancestors was Surya. Vishnu himself wished to destroy Ravana and the other Rakshasas, demons. He therefore divided himself into 4 parts and was born as Ramas, Bharata, Lakshmana and Shatrugna. Rama was Kaushalya's son, Bharata Kakeyi's. Lakshmana and Shatrugna were the sons of Sumitra. The sage Vishwamitra came to Dashratha and pleaded for Rama's help in defeating the Rakshasas who were disturbing his yajanas. Rama killed these demons and Vishwamitra was so pleased that he taught Rama the use of all divine weapons. Rama broke a bow of Shiva's that had been in the possession of the king of Mithila, Janaka. This was the task that had been appointed for marrying Sita, Janaka's daughter. Rama married Sita, Lakshmana married Urmila, Bharata married Mandavi and Shatrugna married Shrukirti. On the way back to Ayodhya, Rama also beat Parshuram in a duel. Dashratha resolved that Rama should be made Yuvraja, that is, the heir apparent to the kingdom. But Kakeyi had a servant named Manthara who plotted otherwise. When he was young, Rama had pulled at Manthara's feet and ever since that day, Manthara had not been kindly towards Rama. She reminded Kakeyi of the 2 boons that had been promised to her by King Dashratha. Years ago, the gods had been fighting with the demon Shambhara and had asked Dashratha for his help. In fighting with Shambhara, Dashratha had been injured. He had been nursed back to health by Kakeyi. Dashratha had promised 2 boons to Kakeyi as a reward and Manthara's suggestion was that Kakeyi should now ask for these 2 boons. By the first boon Rama would be banished to the forest for 14 years and by the second boon Bharata would become Yuvraja. Kakeyi listened to Manthara. At Manthara's instance, she asked for these 2 boons. Dashratha was very angry, but Rama insisted that he would indeed go to the forest for 14 years. Rama, Lakshmana and Sita first went to the banks of the river Tamasa. From there they went to the kingdom of Guha, the king of the hunters, Nishdas. They crossed the river Jahnavi and arrived in Prayaga, where the sage Bharadvaja had his hermitage. Their final destination was the mountain range of Chitrakuta, on the banks of the river Mandakini. Meanwhile, back home in Ayodhya, King Dashratha, who could not bear to be parted from Rama, died. Bharata and Shatrugna had gone on a visit to their uncle's house and were recalled. But Bharata refused to be king. He went to the forest to try and persuade Rama to return, but Rama insisted that he would not return before the 14 years were over. So Bharata brought back Rama's sandals. He placed these sandals on the throne as a token of Rama's kingship. and he began to rule the kingdom in Rama's name from Nandigram, rather than from Ayodhya. Rama, Lakshmana and Sita then went to the forest that is known as the Dandaka Forest, Dandakaranya. This forest was on the banks of the river Godavari, and there was a beautiful grove inside the forest known as Panchavati. They built a hut there and resolved to live there. There was a Rakshasa woman named Shurpanka. She happened to come to the place where Rama, Lakshmana and Sita had built their hut. Shurpanka liked Rama so much that she wanted to marry Rama and eat up Lakshmana and Sita. But Lakshmana cut off Shurpanka's nose and ears with his sword. Shurpanka fled to brother Khara and demanded revenge. Khara and 14,000 other demons, Rakshasas, attacked Rama, but they were all killed by Rama. Shurpanka then went to her other brother Ravana, the king of Lanka. Ravana asked the Rakshasa Maricha to adopt the form of a golden deer and roam around in front of Rama's hut. Sita was so charmed by the deer that she asked Rama to capture it for her. Rama was long in returning, and Lakshmana went to look for him. Taking advantage of Rama and Lakshmana's absence, Ravana kidnapped Sita. Jatayu, the king of the birds, did try to stop Ravana, but he met his death at Ravana's hands. Rama and Lakshmana were greatly distressed to find Sita missing, and they looked for her everywhere. Rama made friends with the monkey Sugriva. He killed Sugriva's brother Bali and made Sugriva the king of monkeys. The monkeys were sent off in all the 4 directions to for Sita. The monkeys who had gone towards the south learned that Sita was in Lanka, across the ocean. One of these monkeys was Hanuman. Hanuman leapt over the ocean and arrived in Lanka. He discovered the lonesome Sita in a grove of Ashoka trees, the Ashokavana. Hanuman introduced himself and assured Sita that he would soon be back with Rama. Hanuman caused some general havoc in Lanka and was captured by Meghnaya or Indrajit, Ravana's son. Ravana ordered that Hanuman's tail should be set on fire. But Hanuman used his burning tail to set fire to all the houses of Lanka. He then returned to Rama with the news that Sita had been found. Rama, Lakshmana and the army of monkeys arrived at the shores of the ocean. There they built a bridge over the ocean so that they could cross over into Lanka. There was a terrible war in which Rama killed the giant Kumbhakarna, Ravana's brother. Lakshmana killed Indrajit. Rama killed Ravana with a powerful divine weapon, the Brahmastra. The 14 years were by now over, and Rama, Lakshmana and Sita returned to Ayodhya. There, Rama was crowned king, and he treated his subjects as his own sons. He punished the wicked and followed the path of dharma. During Rama's rule there was no shortage of food grains anywhere, and the people were righteous. No one died an untimely death. On Rama's instructions, Shatrugna killed the Asura Lavana and built the city of Mathura in the place where Lavana's kingdom had been. Bharata was sent by Rama to kill a wicked Gandharv, a singer of heaven named Shailasha, who lived on the banks of the river Indus with his sons. Bharata killed them and built 2 cities there, Takshashila and Pushkavati. In Takshashila Bharata established his son Ataksha as king, and in Pushkavati he made his son Pushkara the king. Rama and Sita had 2 sons named Kush and Lava. Rama ruled for 11,000 years before he died. This is the story of the Ramayana as recounted in the Agni Purana. It was written by the sage Valmiki after he had heard the story from the sage Narada. Rama was the 7th avatar of Vishnu, Krishna was the 8th. The Harivamsha, as you have already been told, Brahma emerged from Vishnu's navel. Brahma's son was Atri, Atri's son Soma, Soma's son Pururava, Pururava's son Ayu, Ayu's son Nahursha and Nahushja's son Yayati. Yayati had 2 wives, Devyani and Sharmishta. Devyani had 2 sons, Yadu and Tervuzu. And Sharmishta had 3 sons, Druhaye, Anu and Puru. The descendants of Yadu were known as the Yadvas. Vasudeva was a Yadva. His wife was Devki. Vishnu was born as Sthe son of Vasudeva and Devki in order to remove the wicked from the world. The 7th son of Vasudeva and Devki was Baladeva. And the 8th son was Krishna himself. Krishna was born in the month of Bhadra in the thick of the night. Scared that the wicked Kamsa might kill the newly born child, Vasudeva left him with Yashoda, the wife of Nanda. Nanda was the king of the cowherds and he brought up Baladeva and Krishna. Kamsa sent a Rakshasa woman named Putna to kill Krishna, but Krishna killed her instead. In Vrindavana, Krishna subdued the terrible snake known as Kaliya. He killed several other Rakshasas named Arishta, Vrishbha, Keshi, Dhenuka and Gadabha and made the country safe from the attacks of these demons. He also stopped the worship of Indra. This led to a fight between Indra and Krishna. Indra tried to destroy the inhabitants of Gokula by sending down torrents of rain. But Krishna held aloft the mountain Govardhana and saved the inhabitants of Gokula. Kamsa's capital was in Mathura. Baladeva and Krishna went there. Kamsa let loose a mad elephant named Kuvalupida on Krishna. But Krishna killed Kuvalupida. Baladeva and Krishna also killed 2 strong wrestlers, Chanura and Mushtika, whom Kamsa had instructed to kill Baladeva and Krishna. Finally, Krishna killed Kamsa and made Ugrasena the king. Kamsa was Jasantha's son-in-law and Jasantha became furious when he learnt of Kamsa's death. He attacked the Yadvas and laid siege to the city of Mathura. After a prolonged war, Krishna managed to defeat Jasantha. Krishna also defeated another evil king named Poindraka. On Krishna's instructions, the Yadvas built the beautiful city of Dwarka or Dwaravati. The Yadvas began to live in Dwarka. There was an asura named Narka who was killed by Krishna. Narka had imprisoned 16,000 daughters of the Devas, Gandharvas and Yakshas, guards of heaven's treasury. These women were freed by Krishna and Krishna married all of them. Amongst Krishna's other exploits were defeating the Daitya Panchajna, killing Kalyavana, seizing the Parijta tree from Indra and bringing back to life the sage Sandipani's dead son. Krishna had several sons. Shamba was born of Krishna's wife Jambavati and Pradyumna was born of Krishna's wife Rukmini. As soon as Pradyumna was born, he was abducted by the asura Shambara. Shambara threw the baby into the sea, but a fish swallowed the baby. A fisherman caught the fish and brought it to Shambara's house. When the fish's stomach was cut open, the baby came out. There was a woman named Mayavati who lived in Shambara's house and Shambara handed over baby Pradyumna to Mayavati so that he might be brought up well. When he grew up, Pradyumna killed Shambara and married Mayavati. They returned to Dwarka and Krishna was very happy to see his lost son. Pradyumna and Mayavati had a son named Aniruddha. Aniruddha secretly married Usha, the daughter of King One himself being the son of Bali. One's capital was in a city named Shonitapura. One had pleased Shiva through hard and difficult tapasya, so that sometimes he was called the son of Shiva. One loved to fight and he had wanted a boon from Shiva that he might get the chance to fight with someone who was his equal in battle. A flag with a peacock on it used to fly from the ramparts of one's palace. Shiva told him the day this flag fell down, one's desire for with an equal would be satisfied. With the help of a friend of Usha's, Anuruddha and Usha used to meet secretly in one's palace. Once guards informed him about this and there was a fierce battle between one and Aniruddha at the same time. The flag with the peacock on it fell down. Krishna got to know from Narada about the fight between one and Aniruddha and he, Baladeva and Pradyumna arrived in one's capital. Shiva came to fight on one's side, accompanied by Nandi and Skanda or Kartikeya. But after a duel that lasted for a long time, Krishna triumphed over these enemies. Krishna's arrows also cut off the 1,000 arms that one had. But at Shiva's request, Krishna spared one's life and gave 2 arms with which to make do. All of these stories about Krishna are related in detail in the Harivamsha. The Agni Purana merely gives a brief summary of the Harivamsha. But stories about Krishna, the 8 avatars of Vishnu, also crop up in the Mahabharata. The Agni Purana, therefore, next summarizes the Mahabharata. The Mahabharata, the Pandavas were merely a pretext. Krishna used the Pandavas to rid the world of evil men. You have already learned that one of Yayati's sons was Puru. In Puru's line were born Bharata and Kuru. One of Kuru's descendants was the king Shantanu. Shantanu married Ganga and Bhishma was born from this marriage. But Shantanu also married Satyavati and had 2 more sons, Chitrangada and Vichitravirya. Bhishma never married. Chitrangada died young. When Vichitravirya grew up, Bhishma defeated the king of Kashi and brought 2 of the king's daughters, Ambika and Ambalika, as brides for Vichitravirya. Vichitravirya was also quite young when he died of tuberculosis. Since Vichitravirya had left no children, Vyasadeva was brought to Hastinapura. Vyasadeva and Ambalika had a son named Dhritarashtra and Vyasadeva and Ambalika had a son named Pandu. Dhritarashtra married Gandhari and they had 100 sons, of whom the most important was Duryodhana. Pandu had 2 wives, Kunti and Madri. Kunti's sons were Yudhishthira, Bhima and Arjuna and Madri's sons were Nakula and Sahdeva. But Yudhishthira was really the son of the god Dharma and not Pandu's son. Similarly, Bhima was the son of the god Pagna, Arjuna the son of Indra and Nakula and Sahdeva the sons of the 2 Ashwinis. Earlier, Kunti had a son named Karna from the sun god. This was before she had got married to Pandu. Karna became a friend of Duryodhana's. Because of a curse imposed on him by a sage, Pandu died in the forest. Duryodhana tried his best to kill the Pandavas. He set fire to a house of Lak, Jatugriha, in which Kunti and the 5 Pandavas were staying. But the Pandavas were saved and fled to a city named Ekachakra. There they lived, disguised as Brahmanas. In Ekachakra, they destroyed a Rakshasa named Vaka. They then won the hand of the daughter of the king of Panchala. Her name was Draupadi and all 5 Pandav brothers married her. When Duryodhana learned that the Pandavas were alive, he handed over half the kingdom to them. Meanwhile, the forest Khandava had to be burned and Krishna and Arjuna did this together. Krishna had befriended Arjuna. When Arjuna successfully defeated the god Agni at the burning of the Khandava forest, Agni gave him several divine weapons. Arjuna had also obtained divine weapons from his guru Dronacharya. On the Pandav side, Yudhishthira had become king. The Pandavas organized a Rajasuya Yajna, royal sacrifice, in which they conquered several kingdoms and accumulated lot of wealth. This made Duryodhana envious. He arranged a game of dice, Aksha, between Yudhishthira and Duryodhana's uncle Shakuni. Shakuni did not play fairly and Yudhishthira lost the game. As penalty for the loss, The Pandavas were to spend 12 years in the forest and 1 additional year without being detected. Draupadi went with them to the forest, as did the Pandavas' priest, Dharmya. After the 12 years were over, the Pandavas came to the kingdom of King Virata, where they proposed to spend the additional year that had to be spent in disguises. Yudhishthira pretended to be a Brahmana, Bhima a cook, Arjuna a dancer, Nakula and Sahdeva stable hands. Draupadi became the queen's maid. The queen's brother Kichka tried to molest Draupadi, but was killed by Bhima. When the year was over, the Kauravas attacked King Virata to rob him of his cattle. But Arjuna defeated all the Kauravas and saved Virata's cattle. After this success, the identity of the Pandavas could no longer be kept a secret. But thankfully, the 1 year during which identities had to be kept a secret was over. King Virata's daughter Uttara was married to Abhimanyu, Arjuna's son. Abhimanyu's mother was Subhadra, whom Arjuna had married. Subhadra also happened to be Krishna's sister. The Pandavas now demanded their rightful share of the kingdom, but Duryodhana refused. A war was imminent. A huge battalion of soldiers was known as an Akshauhini. Duryodhana collected 11 Akshauhinis for the war and Yudhishthira collected 7. Krishna was sent as a messenger to Duryodhana to try and preserve the peace. Krishna told Duryodhana that the Pandavas would be satisfied with a mere 5 villages. Duryodhana refused to give them even this without a fight. So the armies gathered for a war on the plains of Kurukshetra. Noticing that elders and relatives like Bhishma and Dronacharya were fighting on the side of the Kauravas, Arjuna was reluctant to fight. But Krishna gave Arjuna lessons which have come down to us as the Gita. He taught there was no reason for sorrow if Bhishma or Dronacharya died. That was only a death of their physical bodies. The true identity of a person was his Atman, soul, which never died, but passed from one body to another. True bliss was obtained when the Atman united with the Brahman, divine essence, or Paramatman, supreme soul. This was always the goal of a yogi, that is, a person who sought union with God. Thus instructed by Krishna, Arjuna started to fight. With the help of Shikhandi, he defeated Bhishma. This happened on the 10th day of the fighting. Bhishma did not, however, die. He had earlier received the boon that he would only die when he actually wished to do so. For many days, he lay there in the battlefield on a bed of arrows. After Bhishma's defeat, Dronacharya became the general on the Pandav side. Dronacharya killed Virata, Drupada and several other kings and soldiers on the Pandav side. Dhrishtadhyumna also killed many Kaurava soldiers. On the 15th day of the fighting, a rumor gained currency that Ashwatthama, Dronacharya's son, had been killed. Dronacharya abandoned his weapons on hearing this bad news and Dhrishtadhyumna faced no problems in killing him. Karna now became the Kaurava general and lasted for 2.5 days before he was killed by Arjuna. Shalya was the last Kaurava general. He fought for only half a day and was killed by Yudhishthira. Bhima and Duryodhana fought the last duel of the war with Mrs. Bhima broke Duryodhana's thighs and killed him. Ashwatthama had been fuming ever since his father Dronacharya had been killed by unfair means. In the dead of the night, he entered the Pandav camp where he killed Dhrishtadhyumna and the 5 sons of Draupadi. Draupadi was disconsolate and demanded revenge. Arjuna and Ashwatthama let loose divine weapons at each other. Since this might destroy the world, they were asked to withdraw these weapons. Arjuna could withdraw his weapon, but Ashwatthama could not. Ashwatthama's weapon killed the baby that was in Uttara's womb, but when the dead baby was born, Krishna brought it back to life. This baby was Parikshita. Many kings and soldiers died in the course of the Kurukshetra war. The only ones left alive were Kritvarma, Kripacharya and Ashwatthama on the Kaurava side and Pandav side. After the war was over, Bhishma taught Yudhishthira the duties of king. It was only after this that he died. As a king, Yudhishthira performed many yajnas and gave a lot of to Brahmanas. When Yudhishthira learned that the Yadvas had been destroyed, he no longer wished to rule. He handed over the kingdom to Parikshita and the Pandavas left on a pilgrimage, in the course of which they died. It was Krishna who had used the Pandavas as a tool to rid the world of evil kings and establish the good ones. Realizing that the Yadvas were also evil, Krishna also ensured that the Yadvas would be destroyed. He then gave up his life at the place of pilgrimage that is known as Prabhasa. After Krishna died, the city of Dwarka was swallowed up by the sea. This was the story of the 8th avatar of Vishnu. Buddha. The 9th avatar of Vishnu was Buddha. Many years ago, there was a war between the Devas and the Asuras in which the demons managed to defeat the gods. The gods went running to Vishnu for protection and Vishnu told them that Mayamoha would be born as Buddha, the son of Shuddhodana. Such were the illusions that Buddha created, that the Asuras left the path indicated by the Vedas and became Buddhists. These dastardly creatures performed ceremonies that were a sure ticket to Nirka. Kalki. The 10th avatar of Vishnu will be Kalki. Towards the end of the Kali era, all people will be dastardly. They will oppose the Vedas, become robbers and will be concerned only with wealth. The disbelievers will then become kings and these kings will also be cannibals. Much later, Kalki will be born on earth as the son of Vishnuyasha. He will take up arms to destroy these disbelievers. Kalki's priest will be the sage Yajnavalkya. The norms of he 4 classes, Varn, and the 4 stages of life, Ashrama, will be established yet again. People will honor the sacred texts and become righteous. It will then be time for the dawn of a new Satya Yuga, a fresh period of righteousness. In every cycle, Kalpa, and in every era, Manvantara, Vishnu is thus born in various forms. It is a sacred duty to listen to the stories of the 10 avatars. The listener attains his desires and goes to heaven. Creation. Agni next told Vasishtha the history of creation. Vishnu is the Lord of creation, preservation and destruction. Before creation, it was only the Brahman that was everywhere. There was no day, night or sky. First Vishnu created the waters. And in the waters he sowed the seeds of Brahmanda, the great egg. From this seed there developed a golden egg which began to float on the waters. From the egg Brahma created himself. Since he created himself, Swayam Sambhuta, Brahma is also known as Swayambhu. Having created himself, Brahma stayed inside the egg for an entire year. And at the end of the year, he split the egg into 2. One part of the egg formed the heaven, the other the earth. And in between the 2 parts of the egg, Brahma created the sky. Brahma next established the earth on the waters and made the 10 directions. He created time, lightning, thunder, clouds, rainbows, words and anger. To ensure that yajnas could be performed, texts of the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda and the Sama Veda emerged from his body. Holy people used the Vedas to perform ceremonies meant for the gods. From the powers of his mind, Brahma created 7 sons. Their names were Marichi, Atri, Angira, Pulastya, Pulaha Krathu and Vasishtha. Prithu is recognized as the first king. Prithu was descended from Dhruva. And Prithu's father Vena was also a king. But Vena was an evil king. He was simply not interested in protecting his subjects. The sages therefore killed Vena with a straw, and after Vena had died, they began to knead the dead body's right hand, and it was thus that Prithu emerged. He wore armor and carried bow and arrows when he was born. He ruled well, as per the dictates of Dharma. He looked upon all his subjects as his own sons. From Prithu the earth came to be known as Prithivi. How to pray, how to build temples and idols. The Agni Purana next has several chapters on how to pray and on how to build temples and idols. The techniques of praying to Vishnu, Shiva, Surya and the other gods and goddesses are described, including the special mantras, incantations, that must be used so as to please specific gods, and there are prescribed forms for such bathing as well. A person who builds temples is blessed. Even if one merely thinks of building temples, the sins of 100 lives are forgiven. A builder of a single temple goes to heaven, Swarga. A builder of 5 to Shivaloka, a builder of 8 Vishnuluka, and a builder of 16 temples is freed from the shackles of being born again and again. What is the point of earning money if one does not build temples? Money is also meant to be donated as alms to Brahmanas, but the punya or merit earned from building a temple is greater than the punya earned from donating alms. The merit earned by builder of temples is greatest for a golden temple, lesser for a stone temple, still lesser for a wooden temple, and least from earthen temple. More punya is acquired from building an idol than from building a temple. Idols of gods and goddesses should always be set up so that they face the city. They should not face away from the city. The easy is for Brahmas. Vishnu idol can be set up anywhere at all. Different idols of Vishnu must have different forms. Consider, for example, idols or images of the 10 incarnations of Vishnu. The Matsya, fish, Avetra must naturally look like a fish, and the Kurma, turtle, Avetra must look like a turtle. But the Vara, boar, Avetra will four arms like a man and will hold a gada, make, a padma, lotus flower, a shankha, conch shell, and a chakra, bladed discus, in these four arms. The Narsimha Avetra should have 2 arms holding a chakra and a gada and should wear a garland. The Vaman, Dwarf, Avetra should hold an umbrella and a stick in his 2 hands. Parshuram will have 4 hands with a bow, arrows, a sword and an axe in these hands. Rama's image can have either 2 arms or 4. If there are 4 arms, the 4 hands will hold a bow, arrows, a conch shell and a chakra. Balram's image may also have either 4 arms or 2. If there are 2 arms, the 4 arms the hands will hold a plough, a conch shell, a club and a chakra. Buddha's image should have a calm appearance. It should be seated on a lotus. The ears should be elongated. Kalki's image is that of a Brahmana, seated on a horse and holding a bow and arrows, a conch shell, a sword and a chakra. Krishna's image may be either 2-armed or 4-armed. 3 of the 4 arms will hold a gada, a chakra and a shankha. The 4th palm will be opened out in the act of granting a boon. On either side of Krishna's image, there will be images of Brahma and Shiva. Brahma has 4 faces and 4 arms, and the image should have a pronounced rides a swan. On either side of Brahma's image, there will be images of Saraswati and Savitri. Vishnu's image has 8 arms. 7 of the arms hold a sword, a make, arrow, a bow, a shield, a chakra and a conch shell. The 8th palm is spread out as if Vishnu is granting a boon. Vishnu should be shown riding on Garuda. Garuda will also have 8 arms. To the right of Vishnu's image, There should be images of Lakshmi and Saraswati, Lakshmi holding a lotus and Saraswati holding a veena, a musical instrument. There has also got to be an image of Vishnu exhibiting his universal form, Vishvarupa. The Vishvarupa image has 4 heads and 20 arms. Chandi's image has 20 arms. The 10 arms on the right hold a spear, a sword, a shakti, a small spear, a chakra, a pasha, noose, a shield, a drum and any 2 other weapons. The 10 arms on the left hold snakes, a rod, an axe, an ankusha, used for driving elephants, a bow, a bell, a flag, a mirror and a cub. In front of Chandi's image there will be the image of a buffalo with its head cut off. The image of an asura will be shown emerging from the body of the buffalo. The demon's hair, eyes and garland will be red in color. It will be shown to be wanting blood and it will hold weapons in its hand. The demon's neck will be on the lion and her left leg will be on the demon's back. Images of Chandi may sometimes also have 10, 16 or 18 arms. Shiva's image, ling, may be made out of earth, wood, iron, jewels, gold, silver, copper, bronze or mercury. If you enjoyed part 1 of Agni Purana, please like and subscribe to be notified of when part 2 of Agni Purana has been uploaded. Thank you for listening and learning. Shanti.